Welcome to Just a Guy Bible Readings. You have tuned in for a very, very special Bible reading. Specifically because we are in the book of Numbers, and this is Numbers 19. Now the reason it's so special is because God wrote it. That is why every Bible reading is so special. So, we are in King James Version. Like I said, if you want me to read out of another version, you have a suggestion, leave it in the comments field. And don't forget to share this so that we can spread the word among all of your friends, all of my friends, all of the world's friends. And if you want more, of course, you can subscribe on YouTube. You do not have to, though, because I'm posting these to the Facebook pages. So, here we go. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord hath commanded, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring thee a red heifer without spot, wherein is no blemish, and upon which never came yoke. And ye shall give her unto Eleazar the priest, that he may bring her forth without the camp, and one shall slay her before his face. And Eleazar the priest shall take of her blood with his finger, and sprinkle her blood directly before the tabernacle of the congregation 7 times. And one shall burn the heifer in his sight, her skin and her flesh, and her blood and her dung shall be burned. And the priest shall take the cedar wood of hyssop and scarlet, and cast it into the midst of the burning of the heifer. Then the priest shall wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in water. And afterward he shall come into the camp, and the priest shall be unclean until the even. And he that burneth her shall wash his clothes in water, and bathe his flesh in water, and shall be unclean until the even. And a man that is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and lay them up without the camp in a clean place, and it shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel, for a water of separation. It is a purification for sin. And he that gathereth the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the even. And it shall be unto the children of Israel, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among them, for a statute forever. He that toucheth the body of any man shall be, the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days. He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he shall be clean. But if he purify not himself the 3rd day, then the 7th day he shall not be clean. Whosoever toucheth the dead body of any man that is dead, and purified not himself, defileth the tabernacle of the Lord. And that soul shall be cut off from Israel, because the water of separation is not sprinkled upon him. He shall be unclean, his uncleanliness is yet upon him. This is the law when a man dieth in a tent. All that come into the tent, and all that is in the tent, shall be unclean 7 days. And every open vessel which hath no covering bound upon it is unclean. And whosoever toucheth one that is slain with a sword in the open fields, or a dead body, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days. And for an unclean person they shall take of the ashes of the burnt heifer of purification for sin. And running water shall be put thereto in a vessel. And an unclean person shall take hyssop, and dip it in the water, and sprinkle it upon the tent, and upon the vessel, and upon the persons that were there, and upon him that toucheth a bone, or one slain, or one dead, or a grave. And the clean person shall sprinkle upon the unclean on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day. On the 7th day he shall purify himself, and wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and shall be clean at even. But the man that shall be unclean, and shall not purify himself, that soul shall be cut off from among the congregation, because he hath defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. The water of separation hath not been sprinkled upon him. He is unclean. And it shall be a perpetual statute unto them, that he that sprinkleth the water of separation shall wash his clothes, and he that toucheth the water of separation shall be unclean until even. And whatsoever the unclean person toucheth shall be unclean, and the soul that toucheth it shall be unclean until even. I mean, it even goes to say that the Lord knew that dead bodies were unclean back then. Before we had all the science, before we had all the medical technology. I mean, even when you're in a hospital, if you're in surgery or anything like that, if something is going on in the surgery, they take out anything that's paper, any tools that they're going to be using. They take out anything like that. You know, towels, gauzes, anything. They take it out of the room during the surgery. And it's the same thing with the dead body. If there is disease or anything like that that's coming off the dead body, you don't want it to be near anything you're going to eat, which is why it says, close the vessels. Anybody who's in the tent, you need to be away so that you don't contract the disease and or give it to anybody else that can come from being a dead body, because who knows how long that dead body's been there. And the decay and all that. So it really goes to show that even before medical breakthroughs or science, that just now we're figuring all this stuff out. Within the past couple hundred years, we're just now figuring out all this stuff. But the Lord knew it then. I mean, what does that say? When people say, oh, the Lord, God can't exist, blah, blah, blah. Really, so these random people came up with all these ideas, wrote it in a book that just happened to be completely and utterly true when it comes to science and medical technology, even unto today. So, coming up next, Numbers, I think 20. Am I right? 20. Stay tuned.